Welcome back guys to How's Kitchen. I'm Johnny and today we are going to be cooking up something special because there's not only one but two different types of alcohol in this dish. So today we're going to be showing you how to cook a red wine and Guinness braised short rib. So what we're going to do is first of all braise these ribs off in the searing pan once it's nice and hot. I've just turned that on with a little bit of oil in. So while we're waiting for that to heat up, first off we're going to take our salt and pepper and we're just going to lightly season these short ribs a little bit, not too much. Get a nice little coating on all of them. Like I say, we'll just give it a little rub in there, get it all over. Now don't forget to turn them over and do the other sides. I know there's not a lot of meat on the bottom, but still you want to get all the flavours sort of bubbling away and juiced up in there. Just like that. And get a little bit on the sides. Right. Now that's a little bit of salt and pepper all over them. Also what we're going to do at this point is just put our oven on, preheat it to 150 degrees, and they're going to be in the oven for about 2.5 to 3 hours. So we'll get the oven on now. Let's just do that. Right, so the oven should be ready to go in about 5 minutes. Let's see, this pan's pretty hot now. So we've probably got too many short ribs to put in the pan at once, so I'm just going to do a couple and then come back to it. So we'll put these ones in first. As you can see, that pan is lovely and hot, sizzling away. I don't want to load it up too much because we're going to have to sort of flip them over and just give them a good coating. They only want to be in there for about a couple of minutes, 4, maybe 5 minutes, just make sure they're nice and brown on either side, and they should be good to go in a sec, so we'll just do that quickly. As you can see, they've been in there a couple of seconds and the meat's already starting to sort of turn a little bit brown. That's just what we want. We don't want to burn it at all because that's going to be in the oven for nearly 3 hours and it's going to come out delicious and it's going to fall straight off the bone. Let's hold them on the sides a little bit, get every little bit done. You do want to be a little bit careful with this because it is quite hot with the oil bubbling everywhere, but we're hardcore kitcheners, so we can handle this. Right, that's our short ribs almost braised. As you see, I've done the first 3, come back to do the next ones. They're now good to go in the pan, so I'm going to turn the griddle pan off. I'm going to get the rest of our short ribs in here. Oh, that was a bit big. Bigger the better, I suppose. Right.
That's what she said.
Right, now those are the short ribs, ready and all braised and done. We're going to leave that for a minute because we are finished until they go in the oven. Let's just get that out of the way. Love that sound. Right, the next part of the video, we're going to make the sauce for it to go in, so it's going to sort of all be covered in all the juice of the alcohol. We've got some stock and everything, so let's go through that. So first of all, we've done the salt and pepper seasoning. We've got some onions. We're going to put that in the frying pan for about 2-3 minutes. Give it a good stir, just let them soften up. After that, we've got 2 cloves of garlic we're going to put in there. Again, another minute just to soften it up. We don't want to burn anything. After we've got those 2 in there, we're then going to start with the stock. So it's roughly about 2 cups of stock in one of these pouches. So we'll put the whole pouch in. Once that's in there, we've got 1 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. we're going to put this whole little bottle of red wine in there and half a bottle of Guinness. The reason I say half is because I want the other half. Once those are in there, that's all the liquids done, and then we're going to move back to our thyme. We've got half a tablespoon of thyme in there. We're going to put 2 tablespoons of tomato puree in. And what the trick is with this part, guys, you want to keep the heat on real low. You don't want it to boil at all. Once you start getting bubbles in that pan, turn it off and put it all in there. And once it's all in, a couple of bay leaves just to sort of add a bit of flavour. So we're going to go ahead with that straight away. Let's heat this pan up a little bit. I've already put some oil in there, so that should be ready to go in a minute. And in a sec, we'll put the onions in. So let's just get all that in there. And like I say, you only really want to cook the onions just for a minute or two, just to sort of soften it up and start getting those juices out. It's just going to be in the oven for a couple of hours. That's going to do the job, getting it all nice and tidy. So once the onions are in, we'll give it a minute, just let that heat up, and then we'll start with our garlic. So, as I say again, just keep giving it a little stir around because you don't want to burn anything. It just wants to be nice and soft. And so while we're just waiting for the onions to heat up, so it's getting nice and warm now, just want to give a quick shout out to Gary Millington of Keys and Moor in Yeovil, Somerset, for making us these t-shirts, How To Kitchen. Follow us on Facebook with our new page. We've already hit 100 likes on that, and we only put it up yesterday, so that's some good going for us. Also, if you like, leave any comments, like the page, you know, comment, share, all that sort of stuff. If you've got any suggestions, put something on there, and we are more than happy to hit you back with a couple of comments and maybe make something up for you, and see how we go. Right, so that's the onions in there now. They're pretty good. They've been in for about a minute or two. What we're doing is putting our garlic in now. There's 2 cloves of garlic, finely chopped up. And again, just like the onions, you only want that in there for a minute or two, just to sort of soften up. We don't want to burn anything. Keep everything crisp. And as you can see, the video don't do it justice, but the smell coming from this already is just beautiful. I know not many people like garlic, but once it's in there, you honestly can't taste it. It just all adds to little bits of flavours and smells, and it'll be beautiful. So if you don't like it, maybe just give it a try. You don't have to if you don't want to. Right, now that is simmering away in there, we are going to put in next our rich farm bred beef stock. Picked up from any supermarket. I got this from Asda yesterday. It's not very expensive, and as I say, it's roughly about 2 cups of it in there. So we are just going to go ahead straight away and pour that in. Now before we do pour this in, I'm going to turn that down to a minimum heat, because like I say, we don't want any of this to really boil. So let's just get all that juice in there. And give it a little stir around, get all the onions and the garlic and the juice. Right then, now that that's in, we are going to put in 1 tablespoon of our Worcestershire sauce. You can't fully open it now. There we go. Right. As I say, with this pan on a low heat, it's barely even cooking now. There is no, it's not boiling or simmering or anything. That's exactly what we want. Just while we put all the ingredients in. Once we've put all the ingredients in, we can turn it up a little bit till it does start bubbling, and then it's done. So next off, we're going to put in red wine. You can buy any red wine. Just these little bottles are perfect for it because it's sort of the whole thing in one go. Right then, so as I say, 1 whole bottle of red wine, because cooking with alcohol is always better. And like I say, when it's in the oven steaming away, most of the alcohol does evaporate, but you still get some in there, and it all adds to the flavours of the meat and soaks in, and it's bloody lovely. So let's just give that a little stir, get everything mixed in, because it sort of separates a little bit from the beef stock. Next up, our bottle of Guinness. say, only want half a bottle. Most people have got a bottle of Guinness sat around, haven't they? So let's get half of that in there. Maybe a little bit more. Perfect. I'm going to save that for later on. Right, so we've done all the liquids now in there. Next bit is tomato puree. We're going to put 2 tablespoons of that in there. Give it a little mix up, because it does tend to clump up a little bit. And just give it a good slap in there. Right, now that's in. As I say, we'll give that a little mix whilst it's gently heating up. It's not even boiling yet. There's no bubbles at all simmering away there. That's exactly what we want. So just give that a little stir. And while it does heat up, it'll all just break apart. And that'll be lovely. Now then, the next bit, we've got thyme. So we've got half a tablespoon of dried thyme. We're just going to pop that in. Dish back there, give it a little mix, get it all in there nice. And that is everything that you're going to need in the sauce. So we're going to turn that up a little bit. Just wait till it starts simmering away. And as soon as it starts simmering, turn the heat off. That is done and ready for the pan. Looks lovely, doesn't it? I tell you what. The smells coming off that are just amazing. If you try this at home, I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Right, while that's waiting, let's get our meat ready. So these are the seared meats. As I say, beef short rib, you can pick it up from any butchers. Supermarkets are generally cheaper. Go in there, chat to them and they'll show you exactly what you need. You can sort of do this really with any beef meat, but you'll see at the end of the video, once the short ribs have been in there for 2.5 to 3 hours, you'll pick it up and the meat will just fall off the bone. It'll be amazing. Right then, so as I say, there is slight bubbles now coming up in this, so that is ready. So we're going to turn that off, and what we're going to do is just gently pour all of this over the meat. Giving it all a nice coating, get all the onions and garlic on top. Most of it is going to fall to the bottom, but it doesn't matter. And the smell of Guinness and red wine is amazing, guys, I tell you. Right, let's get that away. Next step. You may have noticed we've still got a couple of leaves, bay leaves here. Now what we're going to do, I seem to have spilled a little bit. What we're going to do is just chuck a couple of bay leaves in, just for added flavour, which is completely optional. You don't have to do it, but it will be lovely. Right, we're going to get some tin foil out and just wrap that up. Because the idea behind the tin foil, guys, is if you don't put it on, the meat will dry up a lot quicker in the oven than if it's not wrapped. So in 3 hours, we don't want to come back to our meat and find that it's all dry and it won't fall off the bone. In the tin, with the tin foil on, you'll find that it will just, all them juices will just steam away and everything will be absolutely lovely. So let's just give that a good wrap up. And that is basically all you need to do to prepare your meat and the sauce. I'm going to pop this in the oven on 150 degrees, remember, for about 2.5 to 3 hours. And at the very end, we'll show you again, you don't have to use this. If you like your sauce thick with the ribs, you can add a little bit of gravy, sort of 10 minutes to the end of the cooking time in the oven. Don't put it in now because it'll go all gloopy and stodgy. So we'll come back in about 2.5 to 3 hours and we'll show you what it's like. So it's almost time to plate the meat up. That's been in there now for just 7 minutes shy of 3 hours. I've got some mashed potato on the go just to make everything look presentable on the plate. As I said, we're going to put gravy in with the sauce. It's completely optional, you don't have to do it. I just like it a little bit thicker. So we're just going to use Bisto gravy granules. So I'm just going to get a little bit of water out of the kettle. As I say, you don't want to use too much because it's already quite liquidized in there. So about half a cup of water, mixing as much gravy granules as you want, and go from there. So we'll just get this ready. Any minute now. So whilst we're waiting for that, we'll take the meat out of the oven. And you can have a good look at that. So as I say, that's been in there just shy of 3 hours now, and that meat is just looking like it's just going to fall off the bone. That looks beautiful and it smells amazing. As I say, we only need half a cup of water, so we'll just pour a little bit away and mix our gravy in. Remember, little and often, you don't want to add too much all at once. So let's just get that in there. Maybe a little bit more. And what we're going to do for this last part, if you don't want the gravy, you can just keep it as it is. That's all good to go now. What we're going to do is uncover it as we have, chuck the tin foil away, pour this gravy over and just put it back in the oven for another 5 minutes. So we're just going to pour that over each bit of meat. And with it being in the oven again 5 minutes, it'll all sort of melt its way and work its way into the sauce. And that is looking beautiful. Right, let's pop that back in for 5. Right, and as I say, that's the gravy done. 5 minutes time. That'll be perfect. Let's get rid of that. Our mashed potato is almost done. We'll come back to that in a minute. That's the meat now with the gravy all been absorbing for about 5-10 minutes in the oven. A little trick here to get it extra tender is we're going to take it out and sit the meat to rest for about 10 to 15 minutes, and it'll all go nice and tender. So I'm just going to take that out now. Oh, almost forgot. I put the gravy in and whacked the oven up to 200 just for an extra 10 minutes just to get it a little bit crispy on the top. So let's turn that off, get the meat out. You can all have a good look. Now look at that. That looks absolutely amazing. So we'll let that sit for 10 to 15 minutes, which gives us time to finish off the mash boiling. I can quickly mash that. We've got for the mashed potato as well, which we'll go over again in a minute. A bit of butter and milk as you normally do. And we've got a bit of French whole grain mustard. So we'll put that in there just to give it a little bit of an edge. Go from there. Right, our meat's been resting now for about 15 minutes. Mash is all fully boiled, ready to go. So we're just going to start mashing this up, getting it good in there. As I say, we're going to start off with adding a bit of butter. We'll add a little bit first and then go from there. You don't want to do too much at once. Butter in there and a bit of milk just to make it a bit more pliable. Sorry, I know, obviously you all know how to make mashed potatoes, but we'll go through it anyway. A little bit more milk. As I say, little and often, it's always the best way. You don't want to overdo it and ruin the dish right at the very end. And a little bit more butter. Right, so now it's quite pliable. We've got our milk and butter in there. We're now going to put a bit of coarse grain French mustard in there. You don't have to do this, but it just adds a nice little flavour to it. So just 1 teaspoon will do the job. get rid of that. Give it a good beat round. As I say, always helps to put a tea towel on the worktop, stops the pan from sliding around, and you don't end up scratching the worktop, and the pan is still quite hot really, so it's always a good idea. Right, that is good to go. So let's just get all these little bits out of the way. Right then, so now we're ready to plate up. So I'm just going to put myself a nice dollop of mash in the middle of the plate there. Save some for later on. Now I've got the mash on there, let's select a nice big chunky bit of meat just to rest on the top. You've got a little bit of garnish to go on there as well, completely optional, you don't have to do this. And as I say, for those juices, we're just going to ladle a bit out. Remember, it's got the garlic and the onion, everything in there is going to be tasty on this plate. And just get a little bit of gravy over all that. And voila, job done. Red wine, Guinness, braised short rib with mashed potato and the best onion and garlic gravy you're ever going to have in your life. And let's get a fork and dig straight into that. Happy watching, guys. Hope you like the video. Click the like and subscribe, always helps. And as I say, if you've got any comments to put on there, we'll hit back to you with little tips and tricks of what we've done. If you want us to try anything, just give us a message. We're always welcome to opinions, things like that. And we'll see you next week.